Good afternoon. My name is Niko House, host of the political radio show Mi Casa Su Casa. And like the title of the video says, I want to say that I am upset about the outcome. I want to say that I am angry, that I am livid. I want to say all of those things. But I'm not. And I hope that you all are. But you know, being in in journalism and always reading these articles, being a victim of police brutality myself, you just get numb. You get numb to it because there was a huge part of me that knew that even with, because you have to remember, the governor even said that what happened was wrong, that it shouldn't have been done. But even still, I highly doubt, which I'm sure we'll find out in the coming days, I highly doubt that this was a jury of their peers, if you will. When I say theirs, I mean the officer, and I won't say his name because I don't want to give him any credence, but the officer and Philando Castile. I'm sure they weren't representative of both of those people, the victim and the murderer, especially not in a place like Minnesota. We've seen it happen over and over. Tamir Rice was playing in a park as a child. Trayvon Martin. It's exhausting, and I'm tired, and it's hard being angry all the time. It's hard being mad. It's almost like the soldiers who get desensitized to war, like they go to war and it's just, they hear mortars and they just don't even jump after a certain point because it's war, right? The difference between this, this war and the wars fought overseas is the fact that we can't fight back. Even in a lot of states where the law says that if a police officer tries to arrest you against your will without valid reason, we can defend ourselves even if that means killing the police officer. How often do you think that anyone would get away with that, let alone a black male? Even with Philando Castile doing all of the right things, he's dead. And so many people ask me, why is everything about race sometimes, like with you sometimes, when it comes to certain things like police brutality, when it comes to things like the justice system or education or job creation, things like that, because those are all race issues. There have been policies put in place to ensure the demise of minorities in certain states, even in the cities back in the day, because they are race issues. I was a victim of police brutality very recently, wrongfully arrested very recently. Not only was it thrown out with no process, so that it looks like it doesn't appear on my record at all, thank God. But whenever I talked about suing, and I'm glad they gave me the advice that they did, but I talked about suing, and my attorney said, well, the reward wouldn't be worth the backlash because the police department will put you on a list. They will harass you, and anyone who looks like, anyone in your, who drives the same vehicle color as you, and my vehicle stands out, which makes it even worse, but they will harass you. And the last thing that you need right now, especially with the fraud suit, obviously, as we know, with the fraud suit and just being a black male and then pissing off the wrong police officer, the last thing you need to do is end up back in jail. And they will put you in jail first, create a bunch of charges around you, make you waste and spend all of your time and money, stop you from doing whatever you were doing, you know, at that time, and they don't care if you get off at that point because they did what they needed to do. They abuse the system to waste your time, waste your money, and it won't be worth it in the end. So I couldn't even sue, not, you know, and without without me being black coming back to bite me again. I want to say I'm tired of it. I am, but I want to say I'm upset and I'm angry, but I'm not. I'm exhausted, ladies and gentlemen. We listen to this talk about Russia. We listen to this talk about Trump, and yeah, I really don't like the rhetoric of Trump a lot of the times. But Trump hasn't hurt black people yet in the way that a lot of our elected officials who are currently in office and who were in office before, black and otherwise, white, black, did not matter. All of them, many of them I should say, have hurt black people. We're still dealing with this system that seems to be just. But let me tell you something. We can find solutions. There are solutions to these issues. There are solutions to these issues. The most simple solution for this one, especially in the South or places that are very homogeneous, education. Now, people say, what, you know, they wanted Hillary, they wanted Trump, they wanted so and so. But if they aren't talking education for this is for this particular issue, I don't want to hear about it. I don't care. I don't. Because this is why my people keep suffering. This is why I can continue to get pulled over time and time again, no matter how I talk. Actually, if I talk like I'm speaking to you all right now, I'm considered an uppity black, and I am treated demonstratively worse. Because then they don't feel like they're cutting me a break. You know, we're letting a little kid, you know, the black kid, get by and pat themselves on the back. We did a good thing. But education, there's no coincidence. Time and time and time again, I've said this. The poorest states are correlated with being the most racist states, which are correlated to having the worst education, which are correlated with having, obviously, the most racial issues and highest racial tensions. These states, these cities, they don't have a lot of interaction with people who don't, and this is including black people, because black people herd together in these states too for safety, but they don't have a lot of interaction with people who don't look like them. They don't learn about people regularly, about people who don't look like them. After Black History Month, that's it. It's pretty much where it stops. Black History Month and Barack Obama. I'm tired, ladies and gentlemen. I want politicians to confront this. I saw Bernie Sanders' tweet. I saw Jill Stein's tweet. I saw Nina's tweet, obviously. I've seen a lot of people's tweets, and I'm not saying they're not doing their part to stop this, but I want people who are in office right now. We have Democrats in office that supposedly love black people, you know. Outside of a tweet, what do? Why aren't you linking education, which you know is directly correlated, strongly correlated with racism in the states, with income inequality in certain states? Why aren't you talking about the fact that Maryland right now is keeping prominent black business owners from getting their license to vend and sell marijuana because they don't want them to gain too much clout financially in the marijuana industry? And this is happening all over the country, ladies and gentlemen. Why isn't that being discussed? Why are we pretending that it was only about 60 years ago that racism, as far as direct racism, could be considered illegal? 60 years ago, and I'm 28, I'm almost 30. It wasn't even 60 years ago. I think it was more like 55 or 56. And that's only in some states. Other states held on to it even longer. So, I don't want to hear about Russia. I don't want to hear, I mean, yeah, we do want to hear about election fraud because that's how we get the good people in, but I don't want to hear about Russia. I don't want to hear about the he said, she say nonsense. Russia didn't make this country racist. Russia didn't elect you all. Russia didn't tell you what to talk about. And if Bernie Sanders never talked about racism and how we need to deal with it, and Bernie Sanders wouldn't say Black Lives Matter on national television in that debate, we wouldn't have even been talking about a lot of these issues for the remainder of the Democratic primary. If you don't know, do your history. Because that's suicide in the Democratic primary, race issues. Obviously, it's probably suicide in the Republican primary too, but more specifically, Democratic primary because of who you could alienate. So, we'll continue, we'll live on to fight another day. But somebody somewhere right now is a victim of police brutality because of how they look. I've been stopped and, you know, all kinds of stuff because of how I looked. It's happened time and time and time again. This is real. And I hope you all take it seriously, and I hope you all can be mad for me. I hope you all can be angry for me. But right now I'm exhausted. Thank you all so much for watching. And always remember, find your balance.